told you in the previous lecture, section 182 defines the term agent and the principal. Section 183, what it states, who may employ an agent, means who can be a principal. What is the rule? Any person who is of the age of majority according to the law to which he is subject and who is sound mind may employ an agent. Therefore, the principal should have capacity to enter into contract. Okay, that is mentioned in section 183. Now, section 184, who may be an agent, means what is the capacity of a agent. As between the principal and third persons, any person may become an agent, but no person who is not of the age of majority and of sound mind can become an agent so as to be responsible to his principal according to the provisions in that behalf herein contained. Means when an agent is there, an agent is been appointed, he may be a minor, he may be a unsound mind also. Such a capacity to enter into contract is not essential for the agent. But if such a person is appointed as an agent, then the principal is liable, and in between the principal and agent, the agent will never become liable to the principal. I will read section 184 again. Okay, as between the principal and third persons, any person may become an agent, but means as between third person and principal, any person can become an agent, but no person who is not of the age of majority and of sound mind can become an agent so as to be responsible to his principal. Means in between the relationship of principal and agent, if an agent is minor, if an agent is unsound mind, then the principal can never make liable the agent according to the provisions in that behalf herein contained. Okay, so an agent can be a minor, an agent can be a unsound mind person. Therefore, we use the word what? Agreement. We don't use the word as contract of agency. We say what we see, that agency depends on agreement but not necessarily a contract, because between the principal and third persons, an agent can be a minor. As such, even a minor or a person of unsound mind may be an agent, but in between the principal and agent, the principal can never make liable the agent if he appoints a agent who is a minor or unsound mind. Okay, that is mentioned in section 184, and 185 states that consideration not necessary. Only one sentence is there in section 185. No consideration is necessary to create an agency. Okay, now these are the basic rules relating to agency, means who can be a principal, who can be an agent, and consideration not necessary. That is made been clear. And after 186 and all, the extent of liability is there. Hereafter we will go like subject matter wise, means duties of an agent, creation of an agency, rights of an agent and all. Like that we are going to see. Okay, we are not going to go section wise. Okay, now the other rules relating to agency are what? First is, whatever a person can do personally, he can do it through another. And when he does it through another, agency comes into existence. Whatever a person can do personally, for that he can appoint an agent. But here there are certain exceptions. There are certain things which are pure personal nature, where personal relationship comes into existence. In those cases, agent cannot be appointed. Take an example of marriage. For getting married, you yourself has to go there. For signing the papers or exchanging the garlands and all, doing all the rituals, you yourself has to go, because it is of a personal character. Okay, so marriage is one of the example where agent cannot be appointed, and if you send an agent for that, the agent will get married, you will not get married. Okay, and the other example is what? Public offices. For public offices also, you yourself have to go. If you are a magistrate, if you are an IAS officer, if you are a collector, you have to perform your work. If you have to perform your duties, you cannot appoint an agent for that. Okay, trafficking in titles, trafficking in public offices is not allowed. That those contracts are void, isn't it? Those contracts are against public policy. So the basic rule is, whatever a person can do personally, for that he can appoint an agent, but there are certain exceptions. Okay, this is the first rule, and the other rule is what? Qui facit per alium facit per se. He who does an act through another does it himself. He who does an act through another does it himself. Therefore, in between the third persons and the principal, the agent is not liable, because in law, the agent has not done the work. Actually, he has done the work on behalf of the principal. Therefore, the principal himself is liable. He who does an act through another does it himself. Qui facit per alium, facit per se. Okay, they are subject to certain conditions. The acts which are done by the agent, for that the principal are liable. Section 226 clearly provides that the agent's acts and contracts will have the same legal consequences as if the contracts had been entered into and the acts done by the principal in person. We have seen agent is what? A connecting link. Therefore, once he enters into contract and all, he drops out. The relationship between the principal and third party comes into existence. Okay. Now we will see the nature of agency. For that we will discuss about who is an agent and who is a servant. Who is a servant? Servant does all the work of the master. He works under the direct control of the master. He works under the supervision of the master. He is called as a servant. But servant and agent, agents also does the same thing, but there is difference. Agent is different and servant is different. The first difference is what? An agent is employed to bring the principal into legal relations with third persons. Servant is not appointed for this. Servant is not appointed to create a legal relationship of master with the third parties. Okay. The second is what? An agent is bound to follow all the lawful instructions of the principal, but he is not subject to direct control and supervision of the principal. But a servant is under the direct control. An agent is bound to follow all the lawful instructions of the principal, but he is not subject to the direct control and supervision of the principal. But an agent acts under the direct control and supervision of the master. He is bound to follow all reasonable orders given to him in the course of employment. So, agent is having scope of employment and servant is having the course of employment. In the course of employment, he has to work under the direct control, under the supervision of the master. While agent has to work, and you can say he has to follow all the lawful directions, but he has to work for the principal, but he is not under the direct control. This is the second difference. The third is an agent may work for several principals at the same time, but usually a servant serves only one master. Okay. Now the next is a principal is liable for the wrongs of his agent done within the scope of authority, and master is liable for the wrongs of the servant if they are committed in the course of employment. Therefore, when agency is there, there is a scope of employment, and when master servant relationship is there, there is a course of employment, the time of employment. Okay. Now these points differ, or say that okay, he is an agent because he has come here for creating legal relations, and he is a servant because he is not creating legal relationship. Okay. This makes a difference between agent and a servant. The next is independent contractor and agent. Who is an independent contractor? The owner appoints him for doing certain work, and that independent contractor takes his decisions and does the work. We'll take an example. We have appointed a contractor, builder, an architect to construct a building for us. He is an independent contractor, so he takes independent decisions. Okay. Now independent contractor is different and agent is different. Agent comes into existence. Agent is there. Agency comes into existence for creating a legal relationship. Independent contractor is not there for creating legal relationship. Okay. An independent contractor is employed to act for another, but he does the work independently of the employer's control or interference. An agent, on the other hand, is bound to act within the scope of his express and implied authority. Okay. This is the first difference. Second is what? An independent contractor is personally liable for all the acts done by him. If he does some wrongs, he himself is liable. If his servants do some wrong, then he himself is liable. Okay, but agent is never liable. Agent only represents the principal in the dealings with the third persons and is not personally liable for acts done by him within the scope of the authority, because the basic principle is what? Qui facit per alium facit per se. For the acts done by the agent within the scope of the authority, the principal is liable. Okay, today we have seen the nature of agency and the rules relating to agency. Okay, bye bye, see you.